The Chase, The World of Masks, Novel Edition. Prologue. The Dreamer. Now, above the clouds, where wind whispered secrets and time bent in golden arches, the dreamer watched. She, known to some as my yacht, stood barefoot in the court of origins, a space that shimmered like memory and lighting, braided into form. Her wings were not visible unless truth was spoken. Her scale hovered beside her, spinning gently. Another climbs, she murmured, but will he fall? Below her, across infinite bridges and phantom staircases, FEE-NOM stood still in meditation. She witnessed him, the red-brown dreads, the focused eyes, and the quiet refusal to break. A whisper stirred behind her. He's nearing the corridor. The dreamer didn't answer. Instead, she watched the boy breathe. Inhale, exhale, refuse. Let him walk. The test is coming. The bridge of life is the path beneath all things. It connects creation to choice, future to past. All who breathe walk it, knowingly or not. Some sprint blindly, others wander, but a rare few walk with intent. These are the ones who challenge what is written. It is a path of recalibration, a divine algorithm adjusting the world based on our will. Every refusal, every surrender echoes outward, reshaping what's to come. FEE-NOM, however, had not wandered into the world of masks by accident. He had endured the realm of despair, a world designed to infuse hopelessness, but did not surrender. When hopelessness clawed at his spirit, he chose to rise. That defiance carried him out. However, Lady Hopeless was not done. She'd crafted a world tailored for his kind, those brave dreamers who refused despair. Hence, the world of masks had been born. Not a trap, but a test. Can a dreamer survive a world that worships conformity? Somewhere far below, my yacht's gaze continued to observe, and it found two others, Ego and Success, who both were lounging in a snowbound realm. The reflection of FEE-NOM shimmered in the watch-glass, but something subtle shifted. My yacht's presence announced itself, invisible, yet unmistakable, drifted across the frost. A whisper only the soul could hear said, "This one is different." In reaction, neither Ego nor Success spoke at first, but later, when the time came to act, that same silent conviction, planted in their minds like a seed, would rise and lead them in the near future. And so, we travel now, audience and witness descending toward the bridge of life, where decisions shape destiny. Chapter 1. The Clearing. A low mist blanketed the horizon. Trees bent away from the path, as if afraid to witness what would come. FEE-NOM stood at the edge of a silent glade, where time itself seemed to hesitate. Across the clearing, a figure waited, tall, shrouded, wearing a crown made of failed promises and gold-threaded lies. Lady Hopeless, radiant in her stillness, offered no words, only a gesture. Behind her, the bridge of life flowed around her faintly, not inviting, but inevitable. To FEE-NOM's left, a portal flickered, neon blue with static-laced edges. The air around it crackled. From within, a whisper, "You've already proven enough." He ignored the statement. His reasoning couldn't compute. To his right, another portal yawned open, warm, golden, and with the bitter scent of pained nostalgia. Nostalgia sadly hummed a lullaby of old victories and simpler paths. FEE-NOM closed his eyes. He remembered he walked with wisdom as he opened them a blink later. Then he continued down the golden stream, now leading him deeper into the world of masks. He hadn't chosen either portal to investigate. Instead, he walked straight toward the bridge of life, toward the uncertain, toward the truth. The wind in the clearing released a sigh. Lady Hopeless did not stop him. She smiled, though ruefully, and then said in a chuckle, so it begins. Chapter 2. The Forest of Faces. The path curved sharply as he entered a dense grove of trees, each trunk carved with thousands of faces. Some smiled with devotion, others wept in shame. Each mask blinked as though alive, whispering soft echoes, "Remember who you were supposed to be." The forest of faces was no ordinary wood. It was a labyrinth of expectations. Public image grew on the bark, praise dripped from the leaves, and overhead, vines of false legacy wrapped around branches of borrowed dreams. FEE-NOM walked cautiously. A mask fell at his feet. It shimmered, then spoke in his own voice. "You're the next big thing, the one they bet on. Don't mess this up." He stepped over it. Further in, he saw masks he once wore. The smile he used for coaches, the glare he wore in the locker room, the humble nod for reporters. Every step through the forest brought more masks, not from others, from himself. In the heart of the grove, a massive face loomed, carved into an ancient tree. It looked exactly like him, only older, tired, worn down. "Comfort isn't purpose," he said. The tree chuckled. "No, but it's an assassin in the house of mediocrity." Lightning split the sky, where FEE-NOM pressed forward. The forest grew silent. He didn't look back. Chapter 3. The Corridor of the Crowned. The ground changed beneath his feet. Gone was the dirt and moss. In its place, gleaming stone, marked with sigils and ancient scripts. The air buzzed with ritual. Overhead, arches formed a winding tunnel, each carved with shifting emblems of forgotten victories. This was the Corridor of the Crowned. At its entrance, a silver statue offered a crown. It shimmered with promise, but FEE-NOM knew better. He had seen what happened to those who wore it. Warriors who bowed, leaders who became mascots, heroes turned into hashtags. A whisper. "Take it, be seen." He passed the statue. Further down the corridor, voices rang. Applause, cheers, branding slogans. Each step came with an echo. "Your name deserves lights. Legacy is leverage. Don't waste your platform." The crown appeared again, this time held by a young version of himself. Innocent, hungry. "Just put it on, then we'll rest." FEE-NOM stared at the boy. "No," he said. "I'd rather rise tired than sleep crowned." The corridor cracked, the light dimmed, and the path opened. He walked through. Chapter 4. Hollow Hearth. The carnival of comfortable lies. He stepped into warmth. Flickering lanterns danced on wires. Above him, music played, not loud, not soft, but sweet enough to distract. Ahead lay the hollow hearth, a grand festival that never ended, where illusions laughed and comfort seduced. The ground was cobbled in smiling tiles. Booths lined both sides, cotton candy made of praise, mirrors that only showed your best angles, games where everyone wins.
A sign arched above the midway. "Welcome home, champion."
FEE-NOM tightened his hood.
Whispers curled like smoke around his ears. "You deserve this. You've done enough. Why keep fighting?" To his left, the carousel of applause spun. Riders wore medals and fans chanted names in a looping loop, but no one got off. Beyond it, the roller coaster of opinions dove and soared, powered by the cheers of strangers and gasps of trolls. He passed the octopus of obligation, its tentacles handing out to-do lists wrapped in gold. Then came the hall of reflections, where each mirror praised without truth. And the teacup talks, conversations that went nowhere but felt important. Slide of simpler paths, job wheel, Ferris feelings wheel, all spinning,
all glowing.
all stalling. FEE-NOM reached the end of the midway. A small door, no sign. He opened it. Darkness. He stepped in. The festival kept spinning behind him. Chapter 5. The path tightens. The door closed behind him with a weighty thud. The laughter from the hollow hearth vanished instantly, muffled by silence so dense it hummed. This was the path they don't show. The corridor narrowed. The walls closed in, not physically, but perceptually. Every step forward felt earned. Overhead, the lights dimmed until only the glow of the bridge beneath him lit his way. On either side, illusions from earlier chapters floated, masks he'd ignored, crowns he had declined, comforts he rejected. But now they whispered again, more desperate, more clever. You're already exceptional. Just rest. This much pain. For what? Even the great ones compromise. FEE-NOM breathed deeply. He didn't fight the whispers, he let them pass through. The corridor tested not his strength, but his clarity. Midway through, a figure stepped from the shadows. Success, but not the lounging, gold-robed version. This success wore armor, not flashy, but real. Functional, burned in some places, dented in others. I'm not here to persuade you, he said. I'm here to ask, do you even know what your dream costs? FEE-NOM didn't speak. He looked down at his hands, bruised, scraped. Everything, he said. Success nodded. Then walk like it. He stepped aside. The path widened. FEE-NOM moved forward. Chapter 6. The Stairwell of Shadows. The steps were slick with memory, not water. With each footfall, FEE-NOM felt the echo of those who had climbed before and fallen. The Stairwell of Shadows descended endlessly, carved from obsidian and regret. Its walls pulsed softly, alive with the whispers of past dreamers. Ego had once called this place the spine of the soul. Every few steps a torch burst to life. Not with flame, but with scenes, moments FEE-NOM had tried to forget, the time he skipped practice, the excuse he gave himself, the look in his mentor's eyes when he didn't show up. Each flicker told a truth. And then the shadows began to move. Thornweft, the sentient root system that lined the deeper levels of the stairwell, stirred. It recognized him. Conflicted. It hesitated. It had once been a guardian of growth, but now served the world of masks. I don't know if I should help you, it said through a rustle of dry leaves. You already are, FEE-NOM replied, not breaking stride. Below, in the blackness, something waited, a presence, watching, stalking. General Lupare, the former dreamer, turned hunter of will. Chapter 7. Buried Truths. FEE-NOM entered a cavern, lit by a single, flickering flame. The chamber was round, ancient, and impossibly silent. In its center stood a massive mural, not painted, but grown from veins in the stone itself. The mural shifted with time, revealing layered memories, some his own, some from others who had passed this way. One image showed FEE-NOM, as a child, clutching a basketball under a broken hoop. Another, older still, depicted Ego pacing before a crowd of masked students, and one almost too faded to see, showed Success kneeling at a gravesite. Why show me this? He asked aloud. The flame answered, flickering into the form of a face, his own, because buried truths don't rot. They wait. He turned to see Success behind him, silent, arms crossed. Sometimes we bury the best parts of ourselves. Success said, not to forget, but because we're scared of what they'll ask us to become. I'm not scared anymore. And prove it. Chapter 8. Veins of confrontation. The bridge had veins. Literal lines of pulsing light running through its core. FEE-NOM followed them deeper, each step drawing him closer to a confrontation he had sensed since the beginning. Ego stood at one fork. Success stood at the other. They did not speak.
Not yet.
Above them, the sky cracked like glass. Lepura's presence approached. FEE-NOM turned to Ego. You're going after him. I am, but not to fight. To reveal. He turned to Success. And you? I'm going to do what I should have done long ago. Stand between mediocrity and the dream. They placed their palms on his shoulders. This part is yours now. FEE-NOM looked up. Lightning carved the clouds into symbols. Ancient dreams, once denied. He stepped forward, toward his part of the war. Chapter 9. The Chambers of Who You Were. The chamber doors opened with a breath. FEE-NOM stepped into a corridor made of polished black stone. The walls, the floor, the ceiling, all mirrors, but none reflected him. They showed versions of who he had once pretended to be, the chosen one, the coach's favorite, the branded rebel, all curated reflections. Smiling back with practiced pride, he walked forward. Each step triggered a new illusion, a living memory. He saw himself in locker rooms, on stages, in late-night training sessions he only recorded to post online. None of this is me. The mirrors cracked, not violently, elegantly, like ice giving way beneath truth. In the final chamber, a single chair stood before a vault. Inside the vault was his first journal, the real one. Uzi picked it up, a child's handwriting, bold, clumsy, raw. I want to be the best, not so they notice me, but so I can become who I saw in my dreams. A tear fell. The final mirror reflected it, not as weakness, as proof. Chapter 10. Fields of Distortion. The terrain opened suddenly, gone were the walls, the stairs, the tight corridors of inner conflict. FEE-NOM now stood in a field that shimmered like water, but held form like glass. Every blade of grass flickered between what it was and what others imagined it to be. This was the field of distortion, where perception becomes prison. With each step, he saw reflections of himself, not in puddles or mirrors, but in the very air, versions shaped by others, the lazy one, the try-hard, the next big thing who never was. Each version called out, remember when you gave up? Remember when they laughed? Remember when you almost believed them? He clenched his fists. You are not me. They answered together. Not yet. A fog rolled in. From its center, a figure emerged, cloaked in FEE-NOM's own highlights and trophies, speaking only in praise. You've done enough. You are enough. But it wasn't encouragement. It was sedation. Come, the figure said, extending a velvet-gloved hand. Rest. Be loved. FEE-NOM stared at the glowing hand, then into the eyes behind the mask. His own eyes dulled. I'd rather be hated for the truth than loved for a lie. He turned and walked away. The fog peeled back, and in the distance, the crown of despair awaited. Chapter 11. War isn't won yet. The sky burned bronze. Lightning forked downward, not as nature's rage, but as a coded signal. The realm itself responding to FEE-NOM's defiance. Beneath his feet, the golden stream of the Bridge of Life boiled, seething with radiant tension. The battle had begun. General Lepura leapt from the mists, his cloak swirling like torn prophecy. blades unsheathed, his mask part wolf, part man, contorted with fury that was once passion, his eyes, human, haunted. "Do you know what it cost me to become this?" he spat. "I know what it costs to stay a dreamer." FEE-NOM answered steady. The impact of their clash shattered illusions. The field rippled, thorn-weft twisted violently from the bridge's edge, forming rings of memory and regret around them.
Lupari attacked with a ferocity that sang of betrayal not of others but of self. Every strike asked, "Why didn't you quit when I did?"
FEE-NOM dodged, deflected, and responded without anger, only intention. "You were one of us," he whispered mid-spin. "You still can be." Lupari froze. If only for a second. A mask fragment fell from his face. Beneath it, a tear. Then came the roar. From behind the clouds, mediocrity descended, no longer a shadow, but an empire in motion, cloaked in clergy white, draped in stolen crowns. His voice echoed, like courtroom judgment. One defiance breeds 1,000 illusions. He raised his staff, a massive sigil spun above the battlefield, ready to fall. FEE-NOM raised his hand. The bridge answered. The golden stream surged upward, swallowing the sigil's light. The realm held its breath. Success and ego reappeared, battered, but unbroken, flanking him. Together, they stared into the storm. "This isn't the end," FEE-NOM said. "No," ego agreed. "Wings, now visible. But war," success added, "isn't one yet."